Hey everyone, welcome back. This is part 3 on the series Emotional Mastery. So why are we doing a 3-parter with this topic on emotional mastery or emotion regulation? Because it's that important. It's that important that we all learn the skills to become masters with our emotions. It doesn't mean we're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean we're not going to screw up, because we all are. I do, you do. Sort of make mistakes and get dysregulated, because that's a part of life. The point is to be aware of it, to be conscientious of it, and try to do better the next time.
Try to do better.
Try to do better.
That's the best advice.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to very quickly just go over do a recap of last week's episode. So if you have not listened to it, I encourage you to go back and listen to episode 1 and 2 in this series on emotional mastery. And then you'll understand a little bit more about what I'm getting into with today, episode 3. So today is going to be more pragmatic in that I'm going to give you, so I started to give you skills last week about breathing. We're going to go further with that. I'm going to advance it. So if you want this information, you want me to send it to you, email me, as always, hello@AnnaMarcolin, and I'll send this to you. I'll get this to you, okay? So this is also going to be in the course that I'm putting on the website that I'll be recording. So when that comes out in time, if you want, you can purchase the course, and then you'll just have it for a certain amount of time. There'll be a PDF that goes along with that, and you can take notes, and that'll be for you evergreen, the PDF course handout, the workbook. So all that to say, here we go. So last week, what did we talk about? We talked really about the neuroscience of calm and having a leadership presence. And we started with emotional contagion. I don't want to get too much into this. You can go back and listen. So emotional contagion, what is it, especially for leaders, and how they do affect their people, their teams or employees, depending on how they show up. The difference between Gen X and Gen Zers. We talked a little bit about polyvagal theory. So I just did a real quick recap about the vagus nerve, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, what's going inside of us when we're getting keyed up about something. And then we talked about Marsha Linehan and DBT, which I'm a huge fan of, the foundations of dialectical behavioral therapy. I think I said last week, I say it all the time, we should be teaching this to 5 and 6-year-olds. It's just so important.
Totally true.
For life today, really.
Maybe not 5 and 6.
Well, no, in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You can teach little children how to manage their emotions better. We talked about breath and body as regulators, and that's when I talked with all of you about the 4-in breathing, the 2 more sips at the top, and take 1 huge breath out. Or if you want, you can just do 4 breaths in and 6 out. Grounding through your senses. Okay, so that was in last week's episode. Now we're going to get into the real flex, and this is training your nervous system. So we talk about this a lot in, I know, triathlon, about training the mind. You have to train your mind. It's talked about a lot in sport in general. And many of you know that you've heard this before, and you know it to be true, that 90% of sport and 90% of performance is in your mind. 10% is in your body. And anytime I say this with my athletes, they all emphatically nod. Yes, I know. I know it to be true.
Yeah.
Across almost all sports. Like, yeah. What is it, the quote? Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right.
1,000% true.
So it's attitude and it's your self-belief.
Always right on that one.
And what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Because your mind, think about it, your mind gets you out of bed in the morning.
Right?
Not your body. Your body's saying, stop, go back to sleep. Your mind saying, get up, get up, get up. There's things to do. We have to go train. We have to go walk. We have to go to work. We have to, whatever it is.
Well, so we're going to get into that, because I'm going to talk a little bit more. I think I did last week, a little bit more about the central governor central governor theory. It's early in the morning. It's not even 7 o'clock in the morning. We're recording this.
Nice.
We ended last week's episode by me sharing with all of you that I was going to talk about it. So we're going to get into that. That's from Tim Noakes, central governor theory. Okay. So let's start with the athlete's mind and the central governor. All right. So this comes from Tim Noakes. It's his theory that the brain limits our effort to prevent danger. So actually, it's the opposite of what you just said, Tim. It's the brain is limiting you because it's trying to prevent you from danger. It's your central governor. It's the governor of your whole body and your mind. Like, oh, wait, stop, caution, caution, caution. Yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag, red flag. It's your central governor that's telling you you're riding your mountain bike on a cliff. You're on a bike path and maybe you're out west and you're on a cliff. So your central governor is going, slow down or stop because you could go over the edge.
Yeah.
That's because it's protecting you. You got to turn that around. You have to turn your mind around and say, no, we got this. You got this. You're safe. You're okay. Keep going forward.
Yeah. Still mental.
Yes. It's your central governor,
Yeah.
but you have to override the instinctual, almost primal part of your brain that's going, stop, stop, stop.
Yeah.
You override it. Go, no, I've done this before. We've got this. You're good.
So you're about to get out of bed in the morning. Your body says, no, thank you. Your brain probably says, go back to bed in the way you're saying it. Go back to bed. And then what says, no, let's get up? Is that your heart? Is that your desire?
This.
What is that?
You've got this. You can do it. Get out of bed. Let's start the day.
Well, which part of your body is saying that? Because you're overcoming your brain, because your brain's saying go back to sleep.
I don't know what part of your mind it is, but it's your mind. I don't know. Okay. I'm not a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
But your mind is saying, no, you got this. You start the day.
Yeah.
Get up. Let's go.
Okay. I like it.
You may not feel like it.
No, you feel like sleeping.
It.
Your body feels like going back to bed. Your body's fatigued.
I was talking with a therapist, this is many years ago, and she was working with a client who was truly clinically depressed, had a diagnosis of a major depressive disorder and was in therapy and on meds, working with a psychiatrist, and still really struggling with really living from day to day. And the therapist, it was genius. The therapist said, there are certain people who can do Mel Robbins's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get out of bed, which she's known for. And there's a certain segment of the population that just is never going to work. And people with mental illness, it's not that simple. It's not that easy. You can't just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hop out of bed.
Yeah.
I could, and you could. And there's a lot of people who can't. And she was talking about this client, and she said, I told them, do whatever you can to get out of bed. You've got to start. You've got to find a way because you've got to tell your brain you can do this. And they told their client who did this, or their patient, however you want to think of it, just take your feet, put them over the side of the bed and slither out of the bed like a snake, slither onto the floor.
Interesting.
So slip out, just get out, get off the mattress.
Yeah.
And that's what the patient or the client did. They slithered and till they just fell into the floor. And now they're sitting on the floor. And what do you do? What did the client do? Client stood up. That's how that person was able to override the central governor saying, no, you're depressed. You need to just stay here all day. And she worked hard to get that client to, no, you get out of bed. You got to get out of bed. We got to figure out a way. Okay, do whatever it takes. Yeah. It's not sexy. It's ugly. We don't care about that. And that's what worked.
Roll yourself out of bed.
Literally slither and roll yourself out of bed.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. So emotionally, your mind is saying, I can't handle this. I can't handle this before it's even true. So that's a great example with my colleague's client. I can't handle this. I can't do this. Well, is it true? Is it really true? No, it wasn't true.
Yeah.
The client could get out of bed and ended up getting out of bed.
Yeah. Think of all the things in life that you've willed yourself to do, like the hard things, the tough stuff.
Because in the beginning, I think the central governor comes in and it's a protective measure. It's a self-preservation measure that tells you, no, just stay here, stay here. And we trick ourselves into thinking that we don't have the capacity.
True. Yeah.
You don't have the capacity. You can't do that. So you need to stay here. You just stay safe.
Yeah.
You have to override that.
Think of all
that
like
neural system.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking like you and I have done intervals, hill repeats, mile repeats, things like that. And some people are like, what the heck are you talking about?
Running.
You just kind of have to tell yourself like, it's going to be okay at the end. It's going to stink most of the way through it. It's going to hurt. You're going to be out of breath. Your brain is saying, stop, stop, stop. Don't do this anymore to my poor body, right?
Your body can always do more than your brain wants you to because your brain is your protector.
Yeah.
But we need to extend it. We need to extend our capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I think about it now and I think about going back to triathlon, like whimper, when I think about, was it middle of the week? Was it a hard bike training ride? It was an interval bike with my bike on the trainers. It was stationary. And then no run was ever just to go out and run like, 10 or 11 minute mile. Every run had something. You were doing some kind of interval or picking up your pace. And then weekends would be maybe some harder tempo runs. Depends on what distance that you and I or I was training for. And I remember being so nervous before doing those training rides. I would be nervous. I'd be preoccupied because I knew what was going to happen. I knew it was going to hurt for the time being.
True. Yeah.
But that's one thing so important and so true in no matter what you're doing in life, whether it be sport, anywhere you're stretching yourself and you're challenging yourself. We don't train to avoid pain. That's what endurance athletes do. We don't train because we're avoiding pain. We train so that we can recover from it faster.
Yeah.
That's what we're training for.
Right. I think of in a pool session, now I'm thinking with triathletes there's specific goals in mind, but doing like repeats, like let's say we do 100 repeats, 100-yard repeats on a clock. It's like every 2 minutes we go, no matter how fast or slow you get back to the wall.
Right.
But the look in the eyes of those swimmers when it's...
Because it's going to hurt a little bit. Well, they know it.
Yeah, they've done it before, maybe, right? But all of a sudden that line comes up on the whiteboard, or I just say it out loud. All right, this is the next set. And you see it in their eyes. They're like, oh. And you could tell it's like, okay, I know what this is going to be.
It's going to hurt a little bit.
It's going to hurt me. But you can also see a little bit of like twinkle. It's like, this is going to be good at the end of it. I know that this is going to hurt for the next 9 minutes, but I'm going to be good at the end. I'm going to be breathing really heavy, but it's going to benefit me in the long run.
You're going to push yourself.
Yeah.
Heart rate's going to go up. You're going to feel, doing swimming, you're going to feel exhausted everywhere. And it's such a thrilling feeling at the same time. And I would always, when I was doing those repeats, don't look to the right, don't look to the left, don't look at the person in the lanes to either side of you.
Yeah.
Just put your head down and go. And what would work for me is trying not to spend too much time thinking about it. So if you saw hundreds were on the board for whether you're in a master's swim class or your class, or my coach had emailed me my schedule of what I had to do that day and I'd print it out and have it in front of me, you just go and do it.
Yeah.
You have to just go and do it and get it done.
Yeah.
Like, get her done. Because you can really wrap your head around, oh yeah, this is hard. And that's what really my default kind of is.
Yeah.
Is I'd rather just stop now and get out and go take a hot shower and put on some lotion and go. Leave.
Well, I think, didn't we talk about this last week? I think we said sometimes it's tempting to talk yourself out of getting to the start line. Like you just said, like, I'm not even going to actually attempt this set. I'm just going to go take a shower, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's in your head. You wouldn't probably actually do it, but like it's tempting for sure.
I was thinking about one of your athletes a few years ago. This is probably 2015, 14, 15, 16. She was newer to triathlon and my heart went out to her. Gosh, you remember that race we were doing? I think it was down in Niles, and the swim was an indoor swim in a pool because it was early May, and early May here in Chicago is freezing. So it can't be freezing. It's usually chilly, but it can be cold.
Yeah. Like
hats and gloves. And so the swim is in the pool and then the bike and the rubber outside. And I remember it was her first triathlon. I think it was a sprint distance. Mm-hmm. And you had all your athletes there, and I was doing it just to do it too. And she was so nervous.
Yeah.
I felt so sorry for her. She was like shaking like a leaf.
But she did it.
And she did it. And she did well. And she's a fast runner.
Yeah, absolutely.
She did it. But I remember I felt such empathy for her because we weren't near each other in line. And I didn't know her. She didn't know me. We just knew of each other. And I know that feeling of anxiety, of performance anxiety. And I'd worked on it at that point. I'd sought help for it at that point. But I'm like, oh, I know what she's feeling. I was there years ago.
We all were.
You can't think straight. Your adrenaline is just coursing through your veins to the point where it actually stops you from almost thinking rationally.
Yeah.
And I wonder if her central governor was going, yeah, you can leave now.
Yeah.
Just go get your
stuff.
stuff.
Let me just go grab my bike and
just go get your bike and get your stuff.
I'll be right back.
So I have such respect and credit for people who are doing hard things.
Totally.
That Saturday morning on that day in May, 10 years ago, was a really, really hard thing for her.
Sure.
And she ended up doing a bunch of races after that, being a really
she's totally
good
athlete.
And still probably she's still swimming with you now today.
Well, she's not actually, but like she's probably listening to this because I know she dabbles with our podcast.
She doesn't know that.
So good for you. You know who you are.
Well, she does, and she doesn't know that. Oh, she's like, oh, Anna. Like she doesn't know that this is going to be surprising to her, that I was watching her, that I was aware of her, that I was observing her. I thought, you got this. But I just empathized because I remember the pain.
Yeah.
the emotional psychic pain
Right.
of being that nervous before a
Right.
race. Okay. So that's important for you all to understand. Just the central governor, that's your mind going, all right, self-preservation, we need to stop now. And how we need to, no matter what it is we're doing in life, in emotional mastery, to override it and talk back. So this is a little bit of cognitive therapy, it's theory as well. Talk back to our own mind saying, no, you got this. You've done the work. You've put in the reps. You're good. You're safe. Now go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And the next part, I'm going to bring back in these DBT tools because they're so important. And I think everybody can use these no matter where you are in your life. And the one skill is the stop skill. I believe I talked about it last week. And that's the stop, 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 take a step back, observe what's happening, proceed mindfully. And stop really is just you taking a deep breath. And I say very quickly to clients, it's responding, not reacting. And when you respond to a situation, that is you giving yourself like an adult timeout. You stop, take a breath, look what's going on. Now you can speak.
Yeah.
But it's not knee jerk. When you go to the doctor and they put the little thing on your knee to check your reflexes, your knee flies up. We're not doing that mentally. We're doing the stop technique, okay? The stop skill.
That's a great takeaway for life, isn't it? Stop reflecting versus responding.
Almost anywhere, especially when you're interacting with other humans. So yes.
Yeah.
In conversation, in meetings at work.
Everything.
With friends, with your boss, with your kids, with your life partner, your husband, your wife. Yes. And you're really good about it with me. I'm not. I have to work harder at this one because I'm a little bit more of an impatient individual.
Who's to say?
Yeah, well, you are to say. But it does.
No, yeah. I'm just thinking like in a crisis situation too. You will see folks and
stay calm.
Yeah.
Stay calm.
But there are folks that go the other way. They are very reactive.
But it's hard though, Tim, in a crisis situation.
Of course
especially like
is.
a medical emergency. I was listening to Jocko Willink a few years ago in his podcast. He was a former Navy SEAL. He's got a very well-known podcast now. He's a motivational speaker. And what stayed with me was he was talking about, was he in Fallujah? I forget where he was during our wars that we were involved in. And he said, no matter what is going on, do not panic. Panic is the worst thing you could do. Do not panic. And I've thought about that deeply. I would hope I wouldn't panic, but as I'm sitting here with you on a 7:00 on a Wednesday morning talking about not panicking in a real life situation, I would pray to God that I wouldn't panic. And then I would be able to use the stop skill of stop quickly, take a step back quickly, observe what's happening, and then proceed mindfully. I would hope that I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
I've seen you in crisis situations. I've seen you are calm and chill. And I've seen other people in my life who have just so impressed me with their ability to stay calm in scary situations.
Yeah.
And move assertively.
But
right?
yet you still really don't know. I feel like I am that way. And I also think that there could be a situation that might throw me. It's possible.
I've seen people pass out in front of you.
Yeah.
I've seen people in a gym. I saw a few people in church have passed out over the years. I've seen you just get up and you move quickly. You just walk. You don't run. You walk swiftly to the person. You're down. You're assessing.
Yeah.
I've seen you do that. Oh my gosh, that person whose life you saved at that triathlon, that woman who was drowning.
Yeah.
And that's a whole story. That's a cool story. We'll have to tell it about you sometime. I was like talking to you, and the next second I know you're gone and you're trotting down the beach. You didn't run like a crazy person. You just like, where's he going? Because your wave hadn't been called yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you just ran into the water. I had no idea. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a woman out there. That is a story for another time of why no one saw her. She was drowning. And you went in and you did all the things you did when you were a high school lifeguard, and you saved that woman's life. And then you walk back up, and then you're like, I got to go. My wave's been called.
Time to race.
And then he took off and he did race. But that was another great example of you staying calm.
Yeah.
I hope that I could do that.
That's a good example of respond versus react. Because somebody that reacts might have done, in a scenario like that, there might have been some frantic moments. There might have been some yelling, screaming. There might have been, who knows, right? Somebody that reacts, you're not really thinking it all through. You're just in a state of complete control by your emotions.
We've talked about this many times over the years with friends and with family. And it came up recently, this exact story, because the kids were little. They don't remember. Tristan and Tyler were there, but I don't even know if they would remember it. They were so young. And you were telling them recently that if she was freaking out and she grabbed onto you, as oftentimes people who are drowning, she grabbed onto your neck. And you had said, if I freaked out too, when she grabbed my neck, we both would have drowned.
Yeah.
And that's what often happens.
Yeah, true.
People go out to save other people and you both drown because
You see that often.
unfortunately
actually.
it just was in the news not a couple weeks ago out at the Pacific. It happens, right?
Yeah.
So you got to stay calm. But okay.
Anyways.
So that was you using that really great skill of the stop skill. And you didn't even know you were using it. All right. The other skill from DBT that I want you all to take from this is your physiological reset. And this is the tip skill. Now, remember, I didn't create these. These are all from Marsha Linehan. So I think that that's really important. I want to give ownership to her and I want to give credence to her. I think it's really important to credit the people where you learn these from. The tip skill, TIP. T is temperature. That is the vagal activation. So when you're really freaked out or really getting anxious or you feel like you're getting dysregulated about something, go and throw cold water on your face. That really works. And I don't think I went into that in detail here in these series about why cold water helps that mammalian.
No, you didn't talk about this.
I didn't talk about that. Oh, I didn't talk about that. We're not going to have time to get into it. So this is something I can come back to another time. Is it the mammalian dive reflex? About what happens, dolphins and whales, they all have this. This is a part of their evolution, but how we jump in really cold water and it stops our breath, right? So when
that's real.
It's very real,
Yeah.
right? Well, anybody who's done a cold plunge knows, and anybody who's jumped in Lake Michigan, done a polar plunge in Michigan in January, anybody who's been in cold water knows. But it's good for when you're really getting dysregulated to go, if you can, put cold water on your face. It's going to actually get your vagal nervous system activated. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking about this a little bit more.
It actually helps to calm you down.
Yeah. We have a little cold plunge on our patio. Shout out to our kids for the gift.
Mm-hmm.
That was an amazing gift. And when I go in there, it's like I go into another mental space.
There you go.
Completely. I go in there. It's freezing cold. I can see my body's reacting to it, but I don't allow my emotions in my head to react to it. And it's so good. It's like you're only in there for like a handful of minutes, 10, 12 minutes, maybe, if you can muster up the guts to stay that long in there. But my gosh, it takes you to a whole nother place and you can allow yourself just to completely go there.
And everybody says that.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know says that. Right. So splashing cold water in your face. If you can't do that, go get some ice cubes. And I've done this. Hold ice cubes in your hand.
Ooh.
Okay. So hold ice cubes. So it triggers, it's the mammalian dive reflex. That's what it's triggering. And it lowers your heart rate and your cortisol.
That's true also.
So that's what it's doing. Okay. So that's something that's really important. When you need a physiological reset, this is for all my people who are anxious. We get really, really anxious about something and you're at work, go grab some ice out of it. Go in the break room and grab some ice and put it in your hand for a minute. See if that helps you.
And you want some instant feedback on that. If you have a heart rate monitor, if your watch monitors your heart rate for you, grab that ice or do whatever it is, but watch that number.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that number drops down. And it does work. You're going to get instant feedback. They're like, okay, it's actually working.
Okay. And also when you're really feeling dysregulated and something's really getting to you, intense exercise always works. Okay. So 30 to 60 seconds of fast movement, because what it does is it's burning your adrenaline. So take a HIIT training class, high intensity interval training, go for a run, sit on a bike and time yourself 30 to 60 seconds, bring the pace up, turn over, do the leg turnover real quick, get your heart rate up, feel the lactic burn in your quads. That's burning adrenaline out. So before, when I would get, part of my training was that before a triathlon, I'd get, and I've talked about this before because I did not manage my anxiety well because I had such severe performance anxiety that it would affect my race. Until I learned these skills. And one thing that I did before every single race is I went for a 10-minute run and it ended up running for like about a mile and I would pick it up a little bit and I'm sweating. And I remember thinking when my coach told me to do this, I remember thinking, That's crazy. I don't want to run for a mile before a race. I'm about to run,
Yeah.
especially in an Olympic distance. I'm about to run a 10K, but I'm swimming and I'm going to bike 26 miles or bike 56 miles.
Save your energy.
Save your energy, save your energy.
Yeah.
And it just seems so counterintuitive to
Yeah.
now go run for 10 minutes. No, I don't want to do that. And I would do it and I want to do it. And I didn't because I didn't understand why. And I would do a little bit of pickups in there. Okay, it's the same thing. Well, not maybe the same as a cold plunge. It burned off some of my adrenaline. When I was finished, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm perspiring a little bit.
Yeah.
I felt calmer.
Yeah.
I felt calmer.
Yeah.
Then I could go back and focus on the visualization techniques that I had learned to visualize how I was going to perform in this race. But that 10-minute run, and now I would do it, is a non-negotiable for me.
Right.
Non-negotiable. So think about that, all of you, for whatever it is that you have coming up that makes you nervous. Maybe you have to give a talk before your brother's wedding. You're the best man or you're the maid of honor. You got to give a speech, and public speaking is the number one biggest fear across the globe for humans. Think about what can you do? Can you splash water on your face? And if you can't because you got makeup on, can you hold some ice in your hands? Maybe you can't do the intense exercise, especially if we're talking about a wedding, because that wouldn't be appropriate. Where'd she go? Oh, look at her. She's outside doing sprints on the golf course lawn.
What's up with that?
But you can do that in other areas. I'm talking more about if you've had a stressful day or something's gotten you really keyed up or you're nervous about your day, get up early and do that before you go to work, all right?
Yeah.
But you can always do the breathing, which I talked about last week. I've talked about it in episodes before. You can always do that pace breathing, the inhale 4, the 2 more sips at the top, and then the either count of 6 breaths out or 1 big breath out. That changes your physiology. So that long exhale, it's activating your vagus nerve, okay? So why does all this work?
Can I give you another example?
Yeah.
You're going to go down memory lane for a second. So remember when you and I first started racing together?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hot minute ago, right? What would I do on race morning? Do you recall this? Do you remember?
Go to McDonald's and order pancakes, which I thought was the most disgusting thing ever.
That was one time.
We go through McDonald's drive-thru.
That was one time.
Those nasty pancakes.
No.
Sorry.
Think about what we're actually talking about right now.
That's what I remember.
Oh, you go to McDonald's and you order pancakes. I did that one time. Stop
You
it.
did a lot of times.
No.
Okay.
You don't remember what I did? The first thing I'm going to do, I'd get out of bed, race morning, I go take a shower. Remember this? Go take a shower, jump in the shower, get wet, get dry, go outside, go for a run, come back and start the process. Because I was tricking my body.
Why do I not remember that? Really? At home here before we even got in the car to leave?
Yeah, every single
so
race.
I did it at the venue before the race.
Yeah.
You would do it here?
Yeah, but
because I was still sleeping.
Probably, but the secret, I think, or the moment of success in that process, I think, was the shower.
Interesting.
The shower lasts for a minute, but you're telling your body it's time to go. Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning, but you need Mr. Body or Mrs. Body. You need to think that it's like 7:30 in the morning. So your body got going.
Yeah.
Then I'd go for a quick run. And then I'd come back and then start the whole nutrition process, the rest of it. Yeah.
So you found what worked for you, Tim.
Yeah.
That was your ritual. That's what worked for you.
Yeah.
So each of us is going to find what works for us, right?
Totally.
So I didn't do that. I was going to say I was sleeping. No, I probably was lying there as an anxious mess, lying in
Talking
bed.
yourself into getting out of bed.
So nervous about what was about to happen.
Right.
And praying for it to be 12 o'clock noon when it was over.
Or praying for it to rain.
Like
Can you please rain?
Yes, I would. Remember that? I would pray for rain. I'd pray for light. I would get so nervous and so upset with why am I doing this? It was terrible. The early years I haven't thought about this. And so like, why are you doing this? Why? You could just be staying in bed here because I like to do hard things, but they're really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I would pray for rain. I'd pray for lightning. I'd pray for the swim to be canceled because, hey, now it's a duathlon.
You would try and manifest rain at night, the night before.
I would try to
I think it's going to rain tomorrow morning, right? And they're probably going to cancel the whole thing.
Do you remember going to an Olympic distance? One time we were going to an Olympic and we were walking. It was me, you, and Jonathan. And you guys are it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you guys are all sprightly and talking and all excited. And I was walking next to you and I started crying. I was crying. And you looked at me like, you go, what's wrong with you? You're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm so nervous about this race. It was terrible. Like my anxiety it just immobilized me. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And I still like, why are you doing this? Why do you beat yourself up like this? Why do you go to these races? Why do you train like this, Anna? And there had to be an answer. There had to be something on the other side of it. And I really ended up doing the work to work through all of this mental gymnastics and games I'd play with myself. And see, I tend to have a negative mind. I do.
Or a skeptical
I have a
mind.
skeptical, negative mind. A lot of it
Yeah.
is from the way I was raised. My dad was very much a pessimist and glass half empty versus glass half full. That's a learned way of thinking. It's a learned behavior. It's really more of a learned mentation, a way of thinking. And I've had to really, really, really work hard in my adult years to change that because nothing really challenged me that I ever thought that I couldn't do. And I don't mean to be braggadocious about this, but I wasn't challenged academically. I always thought academically I could do it. I mean, I always thought whatever the field that I was in, psychology and social work, I'm like, I got this. I got it. If I didn't do well on a test or an exam or a paper, I just never got anxious. I knew I could turn it around. I always knew I was good professionally. I was a good clinician. I was excellent. I'm really good as a therapist and a life coach.
Yeah.
I know that. I've been told that. And I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn. That's the feedback I've gotten from my bosses and from my mentors and my coaches. I know I'm good. So nothing really challenged me. This challenged me.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden I was in a field of women in my age group who were total athletic badasses. Many of them swam in college or ran cross country in high school and college. I didn't. I was too busy partying in high school and college, having a good old time, drinking and seeing how much beer I could drink. Partying was my thing.
There you go.
And I was athletic as a young person. And then I worked out in college, but I went to step aerobics classes, but I stepped away from, I played basketball in high school. So I did do that, but I quit. And then I just let the athletic part of me go. So I never challenged myself in that way again, not until I was in my mid-20s and I stopped taking all these step aerobics and group classes and started running because my sisters were running and I am a competitive individual and I could not understand how they could run 6 miles. I couldn't fathom somebody could run 6 miles because they were doing it and I was a little jealous of the fact that they could do these 10K races. I wanted to do it too. And then the athlete came back out in me, but that was in my mid to late 20s. And all that to say, I had no idea how, especially triathlon, more than anything, was going to challenge this part of me and bring out an anxiety in me that I didn't know I had, and also bring out the anxiety, the negative minds coming up. She wasn't inside of me. I always felt pretty good and confident and competent.
Yeah.
And now I felt incompetent, not confident. And I'd look around, which is, you all know, I'm going to say this, I didn't have my blinkers on like the racehorses. I had blinkers off, looking all around, googly eyed, staring at everybody else. And, oh, she looks like a badass and she looks really strong. And look at that bike. Wow, that's a really nice looking bike. And I bet she's really fast.
Yeah.
And I had all this noise, this anxious noise in my head. And I did that for years until I learned how to contain it. So if this is
you would talk about it out loud. You would talk yourself into losing before you ever even got in the water.
It was so bad, Tim. And you're the opposite of me because you would listen to me, but you didn't know what to say to me. And I had to get help for it. But you almost couldn't relate. You'd be like, I don't know. Like you wouldn't say anything to me.
Well,
listen.
The things that I would say, I would be like, you know what? You don't know anything about anybody else's story today. Yeah, you know they've won races in the past.
But I would kind of ignore you. It was such a loud...
That doesn't mean I didn't say it. It just means you didn't listen to it.
So that goes to show you that even now I don't remember because I was screaming. The voice was screaming in my head about how I wasn't competent and I'm not confident and I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. And I'd always do well. Once the gun went off and my waves started and I was swimming, I was able to utilize adrenaline that I had built up inside of me. And then this is before I got this sports psychology training. And I was swimming, then I could settle and then I was okay. The voices weren't bad when I was on a bike or running. I was in it. Now I was in it. And I just could quiet myself down and be in the moment and go. But it was all the lead up. And for half Ironmans, it could be a week before the race.
Oh,
it was
easy.
Really hard.
Maybe more.
And believe the week before the race, I'm still a mom. I'm still in my practice working with my clients and I'm dealing with this.
Sure.
Not 24 hours a day. And my clients were a wonderful distraction from my own personal life of a race I had coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
But it was hard.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I'm right there with all of you. I mean, I have been here with this anxiety. So these are the skills. The breathing skills are what I use. That's something that I learned from my coach. And that's something I'm sharing with you. This is really big with emotional mastery. Okay. So each component, it manipulates the autonomic nervous system. If you want to know where this is coming from, science-wise, you're manipulating your autonomic nervous system to restore equilibrium in your mind. All right. So the brain is receiving this physiological message that we're safe. We've got this. And that was game changing for me. Once I told myself, no, Anna, you override that central governor. You got this. You've done the work. And we always say in triathlon, the hay is in the barn. The hay is in the barn. You're done. You're good. You're ready to go. Go.
Yeah.
That was game changing because what did it do? It told me I had the capacity. I was stretching myself, but I had now had the capacity.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit about, very quickly about, we talked about it last week, the different generational lenses of how Gen Z and how Gen X look at all of this when it comes to emotional mastery. So Gen Z, and I think I mentioned this last week too, they right now, what's very comfortable for them is to vent or post on social media immediately how they're thinking or feeling about something. The tip skill, the temperature, intense exercise, and pace breathing skill teaches them to regulate themselves or take a pause before they express themselves, either venting to a person in real life or going online and sounding off on something, whether it be, you name it, Reddit, Instagram, even on Snap. It teaches them, okay, take a breath, pause, proceed mindfully before you go to, or you become a keyboard warrior and you go off about something with yourself. Okay.
I can
Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
I can see that, and I cannot see that all at the same time.
Mm.
I can see where there probably are a lot of folks in that group that do take a moment of pause and then go and do their keyboard warrior situation. And I can also see there's many times where they don't take a moment of pause. And there's a lot of emotion in some of those posts and some things that probably they wish they could take back.
Yeah, and that's great if you don't see it. If you see people who are regulated and are able to take a pause. With Gen Zs, the people that I work with, they tend to struggle with impulse control.
Yeah.
And they just need a reminder. I know I am generalizing, but this is also from anecdotal experience from my practice.
Yeah.
They need a little bit of a reminder, then they can do it. But they need somebody, and it's not their mom and it's not their dad. They need someone else, like a coach, saying, okay, wait, slow down. Before you do that, take a pause. And I give them this tip skill. They do proceed, but they're doing it in a more mindful way.
Yeah.
Because impulse control is hard. Now, impulse control is hard for 5-year-olds, 9-year-olds. I've seen impulse control be hard with 65-year-olds. It's a skill that we have to continue to work on throughout our lifespan.
Yeah, we have to be cautious. Painting with a very broad brush in a conversation like this, probably not a good move because it's not everybody every time.
Right.
We're talking in generalities, but I've seen both sides of this for sure in real time in a work setting.
And maybe with the Gen Zers that you've seen where they've done this well, maybe there's just a higher level of emotional intelligence, EQ. Maybe.
It's very, very possible.
Good on them.
Yeah,
good on them.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of that is learned. So then maybe they had some good mentors along the way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the Gen Xers, we tend to suppress our feelings. We're not going to be dysregulated because we're going to shove it down. And the tip skill, the temperature, intense exercise, and the pace breathing, that really provides a safe outlet for us to discharge our energy. So that's like a really hard workout, doing a cold plunge, putting ice in our hands, doing the breathing techniques. That's a way now in general, Gen X and maybe baby boomers can manage something that's really dysregulating them on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that.
These aren't coping tricks. These are neural retraining drills, which I said before a little bit about them being neural training drills, which these are so valuable for all of us. Okay. And do them daily, not just when you're overwhelmed. Just do them. This is a practice. I said last week, yoga is a practice. This is a practice. Practice these mental skills. I'm going to go into a little bit about cognitive and emotional reframing, which is really important in emotional mastery, you getting emotional mastery. So once the body is steady, now the mind can reframe. So last part was really more about the body. Now we're going to talk about the mind and reframing. So Harvard psychologist, Dr. Aaliyah Crum, she found that people who view stress as a resource, that's a resource for them, energy preparing them for action, they showed lower cortisol and higher focus. So those people are like, okay, I'm stressed out, but this is a resource for me. This is energy inside of me, and it's getting me ready to take action. It lowers your cortisol and brings your focus up. Okay, this is called the stressed mindset effect, which I love, all right? So the old script may be, oh my God, I'm so anxious, something's wrong, I'm so anxious, I'm so nervous. The new script could be for you, I'm activated. My body's getting ready.
Yeah.
And this has been a huge one for me. this stress mindset effect. So I talked about triathlon, right? How I used to be. Now it's like, I've done the work. My mind and my body are ready. I've put a lot of time in for this morning. I got this. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Huge.
You're going to have some coaching, I would imagine, to be able to consider this. I don't think the normal person is going to go there, at least not consciously. You're going to have a professional coach, therapist, whatever it is, kind of guide you through this process of how this could or should go before you even consider using something like this in real time.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
I sought professional help for it.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned this.
Yeah.
And so this is what I do. So reach out if you want to get help with this. I mean, I'm just using the metaphor of sport and triathlon because that's where I have been stretched and challenged personally. But for many of you, maybe you want to start becoming a public speaker. You want to start speaking even in your community. Maybe you get just crazy nervous because you have to talk at team meetings. You're a salesperson. You have to make all these pitches or even talking one-on-one with someone in sales. And it's really, really hard for you. You can absolutely work on this and get better. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, you have to put in the reps with all of this. You got to do the work. You got to do the reps. It's going to be clunky. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be like, oh, I really screwed that one up. I didn't say that right. I didn't do that right. I had a terrible race. That's okay. That's one rep. Now let's do another rep.
Yeah.
Now let's do another rep. Now let's do another rep. Boy, they say practice makes perfect. I don't believe there's any perfection in life. I don't think we ought to expect perfection. This is where I part ways with a lot of people in sport. Well, I think it's changing, but they used to talk about perfection, perfection, perfection. Well, no one's 100% perfect all the time. Talk about Michael Jordan, about all the misses he made, all the times he practiced. We both believe he's the greatest NBA basketball player of all time. We think he's number one. And he talks about all the misses he made, all the baskets he missed that no one remembers, all the baskets he missed. He put in the reps.
Yeah.
He shot and he shot and he shot and he shot and he shot. And that made him almost perfect.
Yeah. Maybe you're not defining perfection properly. Perfection means you never fail. We all know that's not
exactly
possible.
Right.
Perfection is the best that you can be.
Well, there are coaches in sport who do expect that of their athletes. And I think it's not the right semantics or not the right message because your athletes are going to have some failure, a little failure.
100%.
There's no human who is perfect. There's no human, and anybody who plays sports knows this. There's no perfect NFL quarterback. Even Tom Brady.
No.
He hasn't had all great games.
No.
Right?
Hasn't won all the Super Bowls he played in.
There you go.
But I think if you define perfection as the best version of yourself to be as close to perfect for you as you can be, your efforts are perfect.
Right.
Right? That's a different conversation.
I'm striving towards.
Yeah.
You could even say
my perfection is to hit at 80%. Well, if you get to 80%, you're not perfect, but your version perfect.
I think you take perfection out of the conversation.
Yeah. That's a tough word to throw out there.
Striving, striver, striving. Competence, confidence. I would take perfection out.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the stress mindset effect. And you all might want to go back and listen to this again and take notes on this because this is some really great gold nuggets I'm giving you. And you can actually overlay that with dialectical behavioral skills. I talked last week about the wise mind. So a wise mind is the balance between your emotional mind and your reason mind, and that equals effective action. If you want to use your wise mind, I'm going to bring this up again. Here are some questions to ask yourself, which I love. It's going to help you real quickly. Number one, ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling in this situation? Number two, what's the story I'm telling myself? Because you're telling yourself a story. You may not realize it, and you are. Number three, what's true and useful right now? These are three really key questions that I have asked myself over the years. Sometimes with speaking, more with triathlon, sometimes with speaking, I've used it in other arenas in my life, but really important because it settles you down. It gets you out of totally being in your emotional mind. Yeah. What emotion am I feeling? Anxious. I'm feeling nervous. What story am I telling? I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure. So it's a story of doubt. It's a story of pessimism.
Yeah.
What's true and useful right now? Is it true that I don't know that I can do this? No, Anna, you can do this because you put in all those hours and you spent the last 3 months training, or you rehearsed that speech 50 times. You do know it. That's what's useful right now. You got this. You do know it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where does the visual imagery of seeing yourself succeed, seeing yourself perform, where does that factor into this? Visualization. There's moments where you need to like take a second, close your eyes and just see yourself doing the thing, whatever it is.
Before the race, before
Yeah.
the event, before the meeting, you go and you spend 5 minutes, even 2 minutes, how much time you have, go into the bathroom, go in the bathroom stall, stand there and visualize the race, visualize your talk,
Yeah.
visualize you standing up out of your chair and asking a question at a conference. Visualize it. Visualize yourself doing it and visualize yourself being competent, confident, and successful. Like, I did it. I didn't, fumble on my words, or maybe I did a little bit, but I got a few laughs.
Yeah.
People were paying attention. I felt good about it. I remembered most of what it is I had to say.
Yeah.
Visualization is really important. Try to do it. If you can spend 10 minutes, I would do 10 minutes. Like, I would do visualization. I'd spend like 20 minutes and I would actually visualize the course. And if we had time beforehand or the days before, we would actually drive longer distance races. We would drive the bike course and try to drive or go through the run course so we knew you'd see where the swim was. That visualization was really important. We half Ironmans, we would drive the 56 miles. So I knew exactly where I was going to be on the road the next morning or the 2 days. So that's really important. Visualize standing on the stage, visualize wherever it is, visualize standing up at your table at a wedding. I'm trying to think of what it is that I work with people on.
Well, I think anytime,
visualize the talk.
Yeah, I think anytime you're presenting.
But
right?
Visualize that people are going to be on their phones. Visualize that not everyone's going to be watching you with rapt attention. Visualize people are going to be texting. Visualize that people are going to be talking to each other and maybe giggling while you're talking.
Yeah.
Don't personalize that. That's not about you.
Yeah.
Keep going with your talk. Let's say you have a phobia, you taking the train, the metro, or visualize yourself standing on the train platform. Visualize yourself stepping over the threshold, over into the train, sitting down in a seat, putting your bag or your purse on your lap. Visualize the train ride. Visualization is really, really important for many people.
Yeah. I think for me, the visual aspect is like taking a moment to just remember prior successes. I've seen this play out before.
You've done this
and
before.
I was okay.
Yeah.
Right. And just be like, okay, now bottle that up and take that with you as you go and you press go to go into this next thing.
Right. So when I just gave you guys the wise mind example again, what emotion am I feeling? What story am I telling myself? What's true and useful right now? That's you doing a reframe. And that doesn't dismiss your emotions. It doesn't dismiss how you feel, the emotions that are coming up for you in that moment. Reframing just contextualizes it, which is important. It contextualizes and puts it into the situation and it makes it more balanced. Okay, so you're not all dysregulated in your emotional mind, because that can be your downfall if you don't contextualize it, okay? The shift that goes on inside of you, it changes your perception and it can change your performance.
There you go. I like that.
So I want to talk a little bit about Google's Project Aristotle, which they analyzed 180 teams and found the single strongest predictor of success within these 180 teams. Google did this study, psychological safety. Isn't that interesting? Single strongest predictor of success for these teams within Google's Project Aristotle was psychological safety. What is psychological safety? It's the belief that you can speak, that you can make mistakes or show emotion without punishment. And we're talking about in the workplace.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Safety does not equal, though, constant validation from your colleagues, coworkers, your team leaders, and your bosses. It's consistent regulation. So psychological safety is consistent regulation. Okay, so that's really important. So when you talk about psychological safety, it doesn't mean you're always going to be validated. Okay.
Well, that part of it's completely unpredictable.
Right.
And uncontrollable.
Right.
Right?
Right. There's consistent regulation amongst your leaders. We talked about, I think last week we talked about how leadership, there's social contagion, emotional contagion. How you show up as a leader, you are affecting your team. You're affecting all the people below you.
Sure
If you're a CEO of a company of 500 to 50,000 people, how you show, we talked about that example of the Chase CEO. How you show up, that does affect your people.
Totally.
Make no mistake about it, you're affecting your people. They're paying attention to your body language, the tone in your voice. If they see you on a screen or live, the look in your eyes, the look on your face. They're paying attention to that. They're watching that. They're picking up. We are always picking up on each other's micro expressions. We don't talk about this enough. But the cues, the intuition in us, we're picking up on it.
Yeah.
We're picking up on when someone looks down, the way they shift their feet from one side to another, the way where their hands are, how they hold themselves.
Yeah.
It's shoulders back. Are they slumped forward? What's the tone of their voice? We're all picking up on that.
Yeah.
We're messaging to ourselves what's that saying to us about our boss.
Absolutely.
In that example.
I can think of many occasions where that's gone well for somebody, and it's not served somebody well also.
Right. Because when leaders, when they model composure, teams are going to mirror it. Cortisol levels, turnover, and conflict drop. That's a fact. Cortisol levels, turnover, and conflict drop. So that's on you, leaders.
It's on you.
It's on you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sort of joking, but I'm sort of not.
Well, no, you're not.
There's a reason why you're a leader. You've been put into that position.
Well, yeah.
You have leadership skills. Let's just do a refresher on psychological safety for your people.
Yeah.
Gen Z, they value transparency. So they're all about transparency. Gen Z, you got to work with them a little bit more on teaching them boundaries, especially in the workplace, maybe in their personal lives too.
Give us an example of what you're saying right now. Like,
they value transparency. Like, I'm just going to be transparent about how I feel about how that meeting went. I'm just being transparent here. I need to talk about what is happening in my space. Maybe you're in 20 cubicles or so-and-so. I just think that you handled that call poorly, and the way you talked in that meeting last week, and maybe you're doing it in front of 5 other people on your team. And I'm just being transparent. I just have to say this right now. I want to just share that with you. Well, okay, you're being transparent, but you're also doing it in front of 5 other people, which is inappropriate. And you've done nothing for psychological safety. You've made someone feel psychologically unsafe. So what is going to happen is they're going to shut down. That continues. That person may start looking for another job or may try to get out of that team, because that person who's, air quote, so transparent seems to have no boundaries about how and when and who and why they talk about what it is that's going on coming up for me right now at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. That's inappropriate. And so they need a little bit more of a lesson or a training in, okay, there's times to have this conversation, there's times to not, but we got to work on boundaries at work.
That's helpful, I think, because, I mean, when we use the word transparency, I'm just thinking at work now, when we use the word transparency, we're wanting folks to be more transparent. We're wanting them to be more communicative.
There's a time, and absolutely, Tim, and there's a time and place.
But what you're talking about is the other side of that. Like being too transparent, inappropriately transparent.
And usually, one thing, if it's one-on-one, you ask somebody to come and have coffee with you. Can we meet in the break room? Can we meet in the stairwell? Can we have a talk? I'm just being transparent with you. There's a little bit more psychological safety there because it's a one-on-one conversation. Whenever there's anybody else involved in that, how does that make that person feel?
Right.
I would go into shutdown.
Right. I mean, it's like I always say, it's down a distance. Like, know your spot. Where are you right now when you start to talk? Who's around you? Who's listening? Should you be saying that in a public setting? Right. I hear what you're saying.
And I'm all about transparency too. And I love that. And like you say, down a distance, choose your time and choose your place. Yeah, right. Yeah. And you could think about this in your personal lives too. I mean, just being transparent at the dinner table with 4 or 5 other family members, or even 2 other family members, consider the situation and put it in context. And I am generalizing. This is more Gen Z, but not all Gen Zers are like this. Okay. Gen X, boomers, us, our generation, I'm generalizing again, but we tend to value restraint. I think about this more than the boomers. We value restraint, like you hold back. And we have to teach the Gen Xers, especially those baby boomers, we have to teach them that they have permission to feel. They're the opposite. Like, you be restrained. You don't talk about that at work. Who cares?
Yeah.
You would talk about how you feel. Talk about what's coming up for you. No one cares. No one cares. Do your job. And that is how I was brought up. That is the work. Even in my field, those are my bosses. Yeah. You know, and you have to allow them to feel their feelings appropriately so in the workplace.
Right.
Now we're talking about work, and to feel their feelings in their personal lives. Because if you're parenting like that and you're talking to your adult children that way, that's where this is a lot of what I see. This is where the adult children who are maybe millennials, maybe older Gen Zers are like, we're out. They shut down. All of a sudden they're not talking, not texting you as much as older Gen X or baby boomer parents. There's a cutoff.
Yeah.
They don't feel seen by you. They don't feel heard by you. And this is where so many generational relationships are failing right now. There's a
Yeah.
huge thing on TikTok about millennials cutting off ties with their adult parents
Right.
because of this very issue.
Right.
Not feeling seen and heard. And the baby boomer and the late Gen X parents are like, oh my God, this is so, come on.
Yeah. So
I know.
I'm
Go ahead.
thinking of this, and I talk about this all the time. I seriously would love to either read or write a book about this topic. You're talking about the blending of generations. And again, we got to be careful. It's a broad brush we're painting with in some of this. It's not everyone every time. But in a meeting, in a presentation, in the fallout from that later in a small group, in a Teams meeting, you have to be aware that somebody that's a Gen Z or a millennial is going to respond differently than an Xer or a boomer. And that's okay. But like all sides need to be aware that just because of how the person was raised or when they were raised, there is going to be a tendency, not all the time, but a tendency that they might respond very differently. They're not going to be quick to react, where somebody else might be
Right.
super quick to react. And that's okay. You have to be able to use those worlds and blend them.
And I think it's important for each of us to know ourselves. And we are generalizing. It's really a case by case basis. I mean, much of this comes from how we were raised, the family within which we were raised. What was the communication style of our parents?
Mhm.
What did we see growing up? What was allowed? What was not allowed? Maybe you're a family that was pretty closed off emotionally and no one talked about anything that had anything to do with emotions or mental health. I think that that's probably less so of the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas today, but us Gen Xers, we grew up with a lot of that. I don't know if it was on the podcast or another conversation. When we were growing up, nobody went to therapy. And if you did go to therapy, it's very private. You didn't tell people you were seeing a therapist or a
Right.
psychiatrist. No,
Right.
no way. You kept that under wraps. You shoved those feelings and those issues with yourself or your family under the rug. The younger generations, which I love, are talking openly and more about that. So I think about the Gen Z values and the Gen X and Boomer values, and I think that we're in the middle because I also love and value transparency, but it's time and place. And I value restraint depending on where it is. I don't think you do the example I gave of talking to somebody else about what you think about them. Or even there's times when I'm being transparent and it's like, okay, I want to be transparent, but maybe this is not the time or the place right now to do that. And I do value that restraint. Like time, come on, not right now.
Yeah.
There are times too when I probably am more towards the Gen Zers because I don't need permission to feel. I don't think I need to be taught permission to feel. I'm a therapist. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. I've been taking classes and working on this, but I was listening to people's problems when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
So I probably do tend to be more like the Gen Zers, but I see the value of both.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't like, we've seen this in our extended families, the elders in our families, more in your family where you don't express emotion or especially towards them if you have an issue with them. And they're more the baby boomers or maybe silent generation. They are not having it. They are not having it. They shut it down.
Yeah.
There's no talk of emotions. There's no talk of mental health or psychology. They actually roll their eyes at it. It's exasperating to them. They're annoyed by it. That is not their thing.
Yeah.
So we have been on the receiving end of that as well.
Oh, 100%.
You probably more than me.
100%.
Right. So let's go back to teams. Let's go back to the workplace. So emotionally fit teams, they don't suppress their feelings. They sequence them. So that's really important. So it's feel your feelings, then regulate them, then communicate, and then you can move into repair if you need to make a repair. Okay. So that's really important. So you can feel your feelings, regulate your emotions.
Yeah.
Do the regulation skills I've taught you here, then communicate. But now you know how to communicate better, and then you're working on repair. Okay.
Yeah.
So for human resource employees and executives, this is the return on investment of emotional mastery. This is your ROI of emotional mastery. This is fewer ruptures in the workplace with your individual employees, faster recoveries, better retention. There's studies on this. This is fact. You had this before in your workplace where it's demoralizing when you feel like you're being micromanaged, when you're being shut down. What happens? People start looking elsewhere for other jobs. People leave.
Yeah.
And you have invested all this time and energy into interviewing this person, bringing them on board with salary, all the benefits, and then 2 years later they leave.
Yeah.
And if you have that in your company, you've got to look at why that's happening if you've got a pattern of that going on.
Totally. And I would say if you're in HR, so how many times, I'm trying to think if it's ever happened. Like, how many times have we brought somebody else in, like a professional, and brought somebody else in to talk about things like this?
Mm-hmm.
We bring people in to talk about other stuff.
Right.
Right. But something like this, it makes people a little uncomfortable in their chair. We don't do that. Right.
Well, that's the problem.
Well, 1,000% it's the problem.
Yeah.
Like that is the person you want to,
why
you need
why
to bring
not?
in.
Why do you think that you all don't bring people in to
I
talk about
don't
emotional
know.
mastery?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I don't know. I mean,
Maybe that needs
to
to get
me,
worked
it
on.
makes the most sense. Like if I was going to bottle this, which you're going to bottle this and you're going to go take it out to these companies in the world, right? This whole concept, stressing the return on investment, stressing the cost of onboarding an employee, and then they leave and now you got to do it again. All of the time invested, all the money invested. It's like, what a waste.
Well, I think they're
bring
busy.
somebody
I think
in.
they're stressed. I think you say, did you do an exit interview? Did you actually talk to them about why they're leaving? I think
it's another good point.
Yeah, I think employers, HR, managers, bosses, supervisors, you name it, I think they're all just like going like this all the time.
Yeah.
And like, okay, that person's leaving. And they fail to take a deep breath and to quiet themselves down as a team and look at the landscape. Look at the forest through the trees of that individual left. Oh, we lost that great person. Well, look at the forest.
Yeah.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
What's the culture of this company? What is the message that we're sending?
It's a good question.
People, what is it they say at funerals? Like, no one cares. No one is ever going to talk about what kind of house you lived in or what kind of car you drove or what your second home looked like and where you traveled to. People talk about, they remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
They remember how you made them feel. You're doing exit interviews. How did it feel to work here? And I know that might be too woo-woo for some people, and it's important. How did you think and how did you feel? How did we make you feel?
Yeah. How many times
Very
have you
important
gone
question.
through an exit interview? Personally?
Never. I've
Not once?
I've never had an exit interview.
Well, maybe that
I've
speaks to something.
I've had a going away party. There's always a going away
Yeah.
party for me, a lunch or a breakfast goodbye with bagels and lox.
Yeah.
Or we order in lunch and maybe I get a gift. I've had this.
Yeah.
Everyone signs a goodbye card, farewell. I've never had a boss do an exit interview with me.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like when I've been going through an exit interview.
You had one?
I have.
Okay.
I'm thinking like for myself, like when I've left, I've been the one that's leaving, going to work somewhere else. I've had an exit interview, certainly, but like
I've had people asking for exit interviews.
Yeah. But the interviews that I've had have been very mechanical. It's more about the logistics.
The punch list questions.
It's the logistics of transitioning you, the one who's leaving, to the new you, whoever it is they're going to hire. And what do we need to know?
I see.
It's like we need to know all the things that you do so that we can hand that off to the next person. It's not drilling down and talking about the things you and I are talking about. Like, well, talk to me about what is it you didn't get here. What could
I don't
we
know.
have
Maybe
done?
employers really don't want to go there.
But
Maybe
why?
That's a good question.
What are you afraid of?
That's a good question. Okay. So we are way out of time. There's so much more I could say. We're going to have to cut this short because I realize we've been talking for over an hour. As always, I'm going to leave you with some power moves. Okay. So here's your 4 power moves. I want you to pick one DBT skill. Okay. And this episode today, we talked about the stop skill or the tip skill and practice it every day for 1 week. Okay. If you don't know what those are, go halfway through, probably go about 30 minutes back, and the stop skill and the tip skill are in there, and I take you through them. Number 2, I want you to reframe one stressful moment as activation, okay? The stress mindset reset, okay? I want you to take a stressful situation for this past week. I want you to rethink it. It's stressful? No. You got activated. Now you're activated to move forward and turn it into a positive, okay? And I don't mean a toxic positivity. I want you to really make it something that's positive in a way of, I got this, you got this. Get activated, okay? Number 3, design a 1-minute reset for transitions. The coaching leaders that I've worked with over the years do this. Your transition from home to work or from work back to home, a meeting to an email. Example, you're leaving a meeting and you got to send out these emails. Parent to partner. Okay. So you're moving from the parent role into the partner role. I want you to do a 1-minute reset ritual for these transitions. So for me, and I think you do this too, especially when I was in my office, brick and mortar outside of my home office, I drive home. I usually listen to some music just to get me out of my headspace of work. or I'd listen to something lighter, like a funny podcast. It's like a 15-minute drive. I'd sit in my car for a minute, take a few deep breaths, and mindfully realize that I was transitioning from work. Now I'm at home with my husband and my kids, and I'm going in, I'm going to change and put on my comfy sweats, and I'm going to make dinner. I'm wearing another role of mom and wife now. And that minute in the car was really important. Now, what I do with my home office and being here is I will take a minute. And the ritual for me is closing my computer, closing my calendar, shutting everything down, turning off the lights in my office. It sounds really silly, but it's like pushing in my chair. To me, it's office is closed.
Yeah.
Work is closed. And then I go into the rest of the house and I will go and change and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all think about that, right? So maybe going from, for those of you who have little kids, what's the transition from you being a parent to you being a spouse or a partner? What's that 1 minute transition? Okay.
That's interesting. I have the visual of, remember that last episode of Cheers? Remember that?
No, that was a while ago.
They shut that bar down, but there was a long walk slowly through the empty bar of like lights dimmed down, music maybe, I don't remember. It was just like this, okay, let's set this scene for a second.
Yeah.
And it's now time for this case, it was time for the show to end. But like, I think that's a good visual for what you're saying.
And it's a great visual for all of you. And you said it really well, Tim, those 1 minute transitions. So for all of you, set the scene. I want you to, and this was big when I was at Second City in comedy, in improv, set the scene for yourself. Okay. So you just left a meeting, set the scene for yourself now going and sitting wherever you are, standing and sending emails out or reading emails.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And number 4, this is for you leaders, all the leaders out there. I want you to model emotional regulation out loud. I want you to say to yourself, I'm taking a deep breath here before I respond, either to an email, before I walk into the meeting, and even if it's someone right in front of you or it's on a Zoom, you don't have to let them see this. Take a deep breath before I respond to what they just said to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's how you model emotional regulation. All right. The strongest people, in closing, the strongest people aren't calm because nothing shakes them. The strongest people are strong. They're calm because they've trained recovery. They've trained this. They've done the reps over and over and over again. They have failed. They've screwed up. They've done it wrong. That's okay. Get back up, swipe the dirt or the dust off from your knees and keep going. Emotional mastery is that type of training. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
All right. So I am teaching this. I'm putting a course together and I teach this inside companies and with high performers. If you are interested in working with me, as always, email me hello@annamarcolene.com. All right. And please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast with 5 stars. I read reviews. I so appreciate you taking the time to write something kind, or if it's something critical, I read that too.
Comments are good.
Always looking for improvement.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. Mad love. Hope the series is helpful for you. Until next time.